questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yay! It muted immediately this time. Sorry. Big up everyone. Good evening. Hope you're well. It's been a minute. Obviously, the last, apart from Tactical yesterday, the last Palace related content we gave you was us discussing our 5-0 loss to Arsenal. So it is good to be back, somewhat. But there's a massive game tomorrow. I'm saying it's must win. I don't even think it was good enough from our point of view. And obviously, bear in mind, we're playing it against a Sheffield United side who need the points as well. You know, every game's literally a 3-pointer for them too. JC, how's it going?
I mean, I'm all right. I feel much better now that I've heard what Hodgson said, but he's still a bit Hodgson, let's say, in his press conference, because he's given us all these like good little things like, oh, Lise's here, Ayu's here. And then, I don't know why, but even though he said, oh, we made some substitutions and still conceded 2 more goals, I know for a fact in his head he was going to blame the young players, but he didn't. But I'm just happy to go to Selhurst Park again. We ain't been to Selhurst in a month. It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
Last game was Brentford at home. That was a very long time ago.
So last bit of happiness we had. We want to welcome Jimmy, Sheffield United fan. Obviously one of the panelists along with myself and the legendary FCA nominated Beat the Drop. Jimmy, how's it going?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No, not a problem. Let's start off with Sheffield United, as we always normally start with our guests. Talk us through your season, because it was a literal car crash at the start. Massive car crash. Although the points are not there, there's upturn in performances. Like, would you say that's a fair reflection?
Yeah, I would say that's very fair now since Chris Wilder's come in. I'll give you a very quick overview because it's not nice to go through, just even thinking back to it. But we started the season okay. We were fairly competitive in a lot of games. And then Newcastle happened, and it just caught everybody unaware. We've always been, historically, a team that's never been the best team, but we've always been difficult to beat. We're a hard-working side that's proud of the badge. We're from we're from an area that grafts, and we take pride in the fact that players work hard. They might not be the highest quality players, but they'll always work hard for the shirt. So we were in these games, and we were... take you back to things like we were a minute away from drawing with Man City, and Spurs scored in the 98th minute or something like that to beat us after we went into injury time, leading that game at White Hart Lane, or at Tottenham Stadium, whatever it's called now. So we had a really decent sort of close run thing early doors, and where we were giving teams really strong games, and then Newcastle happened. Newcastle came to our place and absolutely annihilated us. 8-0. I've never seen us perform as badly. I thought Newcastle were very good as well. I don't want to just say we were terrible, but we were. Newcastle were very good on the day, very clinical. And that shot us completely. That was the game that was the end of Heckingbottom, really. I was one that was calling for him early. Didn't quite happen. We then went into some crucial games against Bournemouth and Burnley that we needed to pick something up. And Bournemouth beat us comprehensively, and Burnley beat us 5-0. Burnley beat us 5-0. And I'm not saying Burnley aren't an okay side, because they are, but at Premier League level, it were embarrassing. And that was the last straw for the club. Ecky went. Chris Wilder came back. And since he's come back, we've had some tough fixtures, to be fair. His first game with Liverpool. We've also played City again since. We were so unlucky against Luton to lose in the dying minutes, but it starts to feel like, is it going to happen? Are we going to have enough to turn it around? And the more the gap widens and the more the games tick on, the more difficult it becomes. But there's certainly been a massive improvement under Wilder. And I keep thinking the next game is the game. And if we don't win that game, then we're down. I thought that about West Ham last week. But here I am again, ticking up to the Palace game. And I'm thinking, well, if we just nick a win at Selhurst, then maybe, just maybe, there's a chance we can get out of this. So it's the optimist in me, probably deluded optimist in me, to be honest, that's thinking we've still got half a chance. I think we are planning for the Championship in terms of not spending an awful lot of money in January and sort of throwing everything at it. But we are going to go for it in terms of we're going to give it everything we've got. And I think you're in for a really tough game tomorrow night. I think we'll turn up, and I think there's a chance we take the points tomorrow night.
Right, but before we talk about Wilder and what he's done, you mentioned the Newcastle game. Do you think I think it was a handball decision they scored from it. I think Gordon handballed it. Do you think had that goal been overturned, that you may have still been in the game, or was it it's inevitable anyway?
It was. They would have beaten us anyway. It might have been 5 instead of 8, but they were a different class. I could tell that we were sort of drifting away in games. I'm not saying we saw it coming because we were blindsided by that result, but results were starting to mask performances. After that Newcastle game, we nicked a point against Brighton, and it was nicking a point as well. They were all over us for 70 minutes and should have been 3 up. They got a man sent off, and we managed to throw everything at them and get an equaliser in end. But we have been eking out results by the skin of our teeth under Heckingbottom, which prolonged his reign and extended, and unfortunately went on too long, sort of scraping the odd result, and it left it too long before we got Wilder in my opinion. So no, I don't think that Newcastle result would have been any different on the odd decision, because they were just so much better than us on the day, and we were terrible, to be fair.
Okay. What has Wilder done differently? It sounds like a simple question, I guess.
He's I'd like to say he's gone back to basics. It's too simplistic to say that, really, but there was no real connection between the players and the fans, and that's always been something we've been really keen on. All his success throughout the time where he took us from League One to the Premier League, the club felt united, where we're all in it together, and as long as they give the effort on the field, a bit like we talked about earlier, we would give them every sort of allowance going. So we didn't mind that. We didn't mind, as long as you can get beat, as long as you give it everything you've got. And under Heckingbottom, it was like half-arsed a lot of the time. It didn't look or appear as though the players were up for it, which is unforgivable for us. So Wilder's come back in. You need to give everything you've got for the shirt, and if you don't, you'll be out. So this is what it means to play for this club. He's a blade. We all know that. He won't accept anything less. So yeah, he's sort of given us our pride back a little bit, and we might not be good enough. And particularly now that there's such a head start for the other teams in front of us, Luton, Burnley, Forest. Ugh. But we might not be good enough to close that gap now. But if we were starting at a standing start, I'd fancy us to get over the line and do it. So we can only give what we've got till end of season. And as I say, if we don't get 3 points tomorrow, it's looking bleak. But that makes us more dangerous in a way, I think. I think you talk about it being a must-win for you, because you need to sort of kickstart your season and kickstart it. We're already more than halfway through, but you need to sort of pull yourselves away from any potential trouble you might get into. This is our Premier League status on the line here, potentially in this game. So we will hopefully, if it's the Sheffield United I know and love under Chris Wilder, we will be throwing kitchen sink at you tomorrow to try and get something.
Cool. JC, obviously, the 9 days since our defeat to Arsenal, or maybe a bit more, I can't remember. And obviously the legendary banner, wasted potential on and off the pitch, weak decisions, taking us backwards. Since then, obviously, Roy's had his presser today. and it looks like he's here for the long run. So Jimmy, we'll watch you this later because we might need some help with it. How do we get Roy out?
I mean, the thing I want to say before I even talk about Roy, excuse me, is the fact that at the start of the window, Parish has been saying only loans, we're only looking at loans, or we're looking at incredible bargains, and we're not going to do anything else. We think we've got a good squad, yada, yada, yada. We get smashed 5-0. We have a banner that goes, I wouldn't say viral, but I'd say everyone in the country is talking about it on the media, probably all other fans. I don't know if Jimmy, if you guys saw it as well, and like, had a conversation
I want to
about
ask
it.
you about it at some point when you're done, but because
But
I did see
the fact that we went from only loans and bargains to now spending £10 million on a right back and now bidding £22 million for Wharton. So you've gone from nothing, the fans pipe up and you get smashed, to then potentially spending £30 million. Something must have happened. Either it's Parish has taken a loan out, or him and Texter have put their money together and they're finally made up. But you know, if I'm honest, I didn't see Roy going anyway. I would love him to go, but I just don't see any possible suitors. The only thing that I would say is that these signings of potentially Munoz and Wharton, they're not Hodgson signings. And I think we can all agree on that. Because there's no way Hodgson is buying an attacking fullback, and there's no way Hodgson's buying a 19-year-old midfielder, because he refuses to play anyone under the age of 27. So there's no way that he's buying these players. And obviously, I'm probably saying this because he was at the Arsenal game, but Wharton feels like a very Graham Potter signing. Munoz feels like a very Graham Potter signing. And those are probably the two positions in that team that need the most attention. I think that, in my opinion, as we said, this is a must-win game. There's no disrespect to Sheffield United, but we've been in this league for 10 years now. We need to be looking at Sheffield United and thinking we have to get 3 points here. And I would even go as far as saying, I even said it to Dan on Tactical yesterday, if we make hard work of this game, especially with Elise being available, with Ayew being available, probably our two best players this season, if we even make hard work of this game, I feel like Hodgson has to go. Give Potter whatever he wants, whatever wage he wants. We pay our managers well. Hodgson's the 5th highest paid person at the whole club right now. Just give Potter what he wants, man. Seriously. Because if he can start implementing that playing style, we've got from now until the end of the season, then he's got the summer, and then next season we'll be cooking. But Hodgson ain't going. And Parish's master plan is hold out of Hodgson, then get Southgate, and then we'll get relegated next season.
Jimmy, you had a question, though?
Yeah, evening to Dan, by the way. I've not met Dan, so evening, pal.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy.
Yeah, you too, mate. Yeah, from the outside, you've just sort of answered it a little bit, JC, to be honest, mate, because from the outside looking in, and that's all it is, I think, why are these guys so keen to get rid of Roy? Because, and I don't have to watch it every week. I understand the style of play sometimes can affect how fans feel. I don't know if that's been an issue for yourselves. Obviously, last week were a ridiculous result, and 5-0s are unacceptable, whoever you're playing. But he appears from the outside looking in to be the man that's come in and steadied the ship after a little wobbly period under Vieira. Mm-hmm. That's why he's come back, because he's the man that you can rely on. But as I say, you've just sort of half answered it, because I would always say you want to stick with him unless there's somebody better round the corner. So yeah, we knew we could get better than Heckingbottom. That's why I were calling for it early. I were hoping it was going to be Wilder. I didn't know that, but obviously he's the one that all the blades want. If you can get somebody like Graham Potter, he's a level up than Roy Hodgson, in my opinion. So I can understand the thought process now. If that's going to be, if you're going to swap him for Steve Cooper, who I think is a good manager. I know Forest lot seem to not like him, but I don't think he's necessarily.
It's a sideways step in it.
It's a sideways move, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say that's not even the reason why we want Hodgson out. Granted, it is the playing style that is definitely a big issue, and you're 100% right. After Vieira, he came in, he steadied the ship, and we started balling out. Like seriously, until the end of that season, we were playing some incredible football. But with Hodgson, he's got a thing of just not trusting the youth unless he absolutely has to. And in this summer window, we've bought Mateus França, who turned down teams like Real Madrid and Chelsea to come and play for Palace. And we spent 20 million quid on him. And we haven't seen him start a game this season. I think I don't actually know how many minutes he's played in the Premier League. I guess it's less than 90. He hasn't even had a full 90. For a team the size of our clubs, spending £20 million on any player and for the manager to just refuse to use him whatsoever, and especially for our whole club to have this ethos of trying to bring through young players, and Hodgson just refusing to do that whatsoever, I think it's just red flags are going all over the place.
He's had 64 minutes in the league this season, by the way.
Yeah.
You'd think, though, that Paris should be aware of that, and obviously it's a cheap
Parish hates taking risks. That's the thing.
Yeah. But he as a chairman that's wanting to save money, you'd think investing in youth and bringing youth like Eze. What did you buy him for? 12 mil from QPR. He's a 40 million pound player now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
more than that.
He's top class. Elise is going to make you millions and millions of pounds. So, yes, you've had to mine in the Championship and things like that, but you invested in them when they were younger, or even these players that are part of your youth team, and you're buying to come into your youth system. Surely that's what Parish would want from a manager. So he appears again from outside looking in to have a great trust in Roy, but from what you're saying, they're on different wavelengths in terms of how Palace are going to progress.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, Parish has said before he literally said it in the stadium. Well, I think he was in the stadium, wasn't it? At the end of last season, he did his little coked up speech, and he said like, "Oh, one of the things we want to do is make sure the kids have a pathway into the first team." And it's like when you've got Roy, who, like he said, refuses to play anyone below the age of 27. Like, I agree. Like, they're obviously on different wavelengths because Parish wants one thing, whereas Roy is not the person to carry that plan through.
The one thing I will say is comparing it to, and I can only compare it to us in terms of Chris Wilder. When Wilder was first in charge with us, he refused to play in a youth team as well, and we thought him coming back because we've moved to a self-sustaining model, which is why we don't spend any money. We don't want to be in any debt going forward. We want to be able to fund ourselves. So we have moved to a youth policy in terms of bringing in our youngsters, and some of them have made the first team this year. We've got Willa Sula, who's up front, Andrea Brooks, who's in midfield, Reece Norrington-Davis came through our youth setup. There's some really good youth prospects. But Wilder coming back, we thought that might be squashed because he's never trusted young kids. He wants to buy experienced professionals, a bit like you're saying about Roy. He's come back in, and he was the one that put Brooks in the team. He's the one that's persisted with Willa Sula. So he's sort of changed his mentality, and clearly that's not happening with Roy. I don't mean to give you any false hope with that, because obviously I think you guys have made your mind up. But, he surprised us by being willing to go with youth when we didn't expect that. That weren't a deal breaker for us. It seems like it might be for Parish. So, but as I say, it depends who's around the corner. If Potter is lurking and he's willing to come, you'd be foolish not to make that change for me.
Yeah. In all honesty, the only reason why Roy Hodgson's surviving is because Parish don't do this.
When Dan said what Parish was saying, I thought he was going to bring out this.
Yeah.
Not what you actually said.
This is infuriating. Anyway, Parish is obviously being cheap at the moment. And that's the only reason Roy's still in the job. Because if this was any other manager and we had a bit more about us, they'll be gone. Like, he's literally trying to save as much money until the summer as possible. But the only way you make money is getting up the table. And the fast way to lose money is getting relegated. So he's got a decision to make.
Being honest, though, looking at the table at the minute, this is probably one of the safest years you can go without spending money. And I know FFP's affected the January transfer window this year, but the three promoted teams, us, Luton and Burnley, if we're talking honestly, we're a level much lower than the rest of the league, or we certainly appear to be at the minute. So,
I've been saying Luton to survive from the start.
I know you like Luton, and Luton have got a lot of a lot of spirit, and they may surprise a few come, getting close to the time. And I'm obviously hoping United do as well. But this is the season you can probably save that 20 million quid rather than have to spend it on a striker, or if a chairman's trying to edge his bets and see whether he needs to take a risk or not. It doesn't look like this is the year that you need to take a risk. So
it's a big risk though, because Leicester was it 22 points in 21 games this time last season, and they stuck out with Rodgers for way too long.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah. Let's get through some comments, then we'll go through the combined 11.
Big up Kevin here. Hi Jim. We need to go out all guns blazing against Palace.
Come on, Kev.
Need to offload Brewster and Osborne and Wes and Fleck before the window closes. Tomorrow's game will define our season. That's a lot of people to go in 2 days.
Yeah,
3 days.
He's right. It's deadwood. Brewster, I would maybe hang on to and send on loan to Championship, because I think there's potentially some value still in him. But Osborne is not Premier League quality. Wes, we've just replaced. John Fleck's injured. That's the only reason he's not left so far in January, because he's unfortunately been a brilliant servant for us, but he's past his best now and time to go.
Big up Tim. He agrees with you, mate. He's switched allegiances. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. He's a fake fan. Big up Chairman. Ian Blades. All 3 results possible in this one. Both clubs thinking it's a must-win. Blades now making plenty of chances. Fancy a close victory for the Blades? I hope not. Big up Ree saying the stream quality is 10 out of 10. I'm sick of players being loaned out. Big up Pat. Big up the GOAT, Jimmy and Rich T. In the long run, generally a must-win. No offense, Jimmy. Bit weird one if we don't do so on paper. Wharton is a stand-in for Decore. I would say he's probably a replacement for Lerma, potentially, because he's a bit younger, isn't he? You're muted, mate.
I'm always muted. Do you reckon we cash in on Lerman instead?
I said this to Dan, or was it Dan or Chairman? I think I said it to someone. I said, would you cash in on Czech for a bit more than what we bought him for, or would you get 100% profit out of Lerma? Because I reckon you could
selling Lerma for though.
Well, I would say Lerma just because I think Czech Decore is worth double, like more than double what we paid for him.
Yeah, but if Liverpool come in with like 70 mil,
Decore is gone.
Decore's got to go.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't think you can really entertain.
I don't think they will.
Any kind of bid
how long he's been injured for.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but
in an ideal world, I'll keep Lerma as well. Keep all 3 of them, because that rotation will be sick.
And then get rid of Schlupp and Hughes.
Yeah, and Gyro.
Oh, jeez, we got Gyro in it.
Wait, sorry, I've just seen something in the group chat. I need to have a look at this.
Oh boy.
Hodgson gone.
Nah. I thought it was going to be better than it was.
We can all agree.
Big up Tim. Surprised if there wasn't any money. Just typical stance on driving hard bargains. Big up Clive here. We're going to start running through them. We've got a load of comments here. Big up yourself. Big up Monty. Big up Mukhtar. From Seca's free in the summer. He's already turned us down.
That's the only thing that I will say that maybe is something that they're thinking about. Thinking glass half full is that I feel like there's a lot more managers who would be available in the summer than there is now. That's the only thing.
He's loving the optimism, but he's not confident either. I felt so detached from the club and being sick. He started against Earthry about França. Big up Jack. Crazy. Big up Mukhtar. Big up O. Anyone else down here? Big up Ben.
Hey, what is this Munier's contract issue? Like, no, seriously.
I don't know. I reckon it. The thing is, Hodgson wouldn't have said what he said in his press conference if it wasn't pretty much done and dusted. he wouldn't have given away that much information unless it was pretty much done. I
It's
reckon
probably-
it's something stupid like a work permit. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's probably something like that, or like, you know, just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I don't think we're lowballing, because I think personal terms were already agreed before Genk accepted anyway.
Fairs. Let's get this combined 11 done. This should be fun.
So, Jimmy, what we do here is we do a combined 11. And
Okay.
so we go through it twice. The first time we go through it, you can only pick players that are fit and available for this game. So you can't pick injured players and you can't pick suspended players. But you have to have at least 3 players from each team. So you can't have a full Sheffield team. You need to have at least 3 Palace players in. And then the second time we go around is everyone's fit, everyone's available. What's the best team we can make combined?
Okay.
So the first time we go around, you have to get everyone available and you have to get at least 3 players from each team. So we'll start in the goalkeeper. Who are you picking?
Me first.
Yeah, no, you pick the whole team.
All right. Okay. Cool. It's got to be my boy Dean Henderson.
He was at you guys, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, 2 seasons he did with us. Absolutely brilliant player. Absolutely brilliant.
Can't kick very well, but he's all right.
Okay. Okay. So this is where it gets tricky. To be honest, I'd have to refamiliarize myself with your side, but
Who's your right back?
Bogle,
when fit, it's George Baldock, but he's not fit. So in the rules of your game, we'd have to go Jayden Bogle.
Just put him there.
I think both of us tried to sign him in the same window, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Maybe we got him on a double deal with Max Lowe. Oh God, this is ridiculous because I don't know if I'm being truthful. We're picking our players first and foremost. We've got to go with Anel Ahmedhodzic because I'm trying to put him in shop window, so I can help you with spelling, mate. It's
Don't worry, I've got it all on my other screen here. I'm all good.
And I've got to go with Gay at the back. Yeah, he's class in here. Let's be right.
Is this the first time that someone's picked Gay over Anderson and actually done it the right way around?
No,
because everyone else has
way.
gone Anderson first. But
Really?
yeah, all us, we all believe Gay is much better, and everyone thinks Anderson's better.
I don't watch you enough to give an informed opinion on it, but just from the games I've seen, Gay. Well, we know a bit more about Gay anyway.
You're 100% right. Left back?
Reece Norrington Davis. Norrington Davis. So it's a double barrel, but he's. I think he's great, and I think he'll only get better. So yeah, it looks. We'll see. So in the midfield, picky this because you've got some decent midfielders. I do like Decore. He's got to go in.
He's injured.
He's injured.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, they did his Achilles.
He's out for the season.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's the right result. That is the right result. Okay, well.
Look at his little smile.
That makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to go Gus Hamer.
Does a pivot?
Good player.
He's been decent.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Andre Brooks. That might surprise you, but he's our prodigy, really. He's not even going to be on here, is he? Yeah, hey, Brooks, look, no picture. That tells you everything you need to know. But I've got to go with what I honestly think here. So which side does Elise play on more regularly? I know he can play anywhere across the front three.
Right wing.
Yeah, we'll go Elise. We'll go as a 10. I'm going to go. This is tricky because it's one of two for me, but I'm going to go Ben Brereton Diaz just over James McAtee, and that's controversial. And I'm sticking with my boy. I'm loyal. I'm going with Cameron Archer up top as the poacher, the main man. A lot of even Sheffield United fans will not agree with that. They choose Will Osula over him, but I think that is an unbelievable team.
I must say that Diaz loan is incredible.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough, I don't think. But well, we'll see. We'll see what we make. So,
any changes that we would make? I would say I haven't seen Brooks or Norton Davies play at all, so I've got no idea about them. So if in that case, I would probably just change it for Lerma and Mitchell. But otherwise, I don't. I would have picked the same team.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I can't complain about.
Would you stick Brooks out wide, or because I know, or would you keep Brereton Diaz out wide?
No, Brereton Diaz is our left forward, if you like. He'll play that pretty much that position. It's not really a left winger. He's a bit further forward and a bit more tucked in, but yeah, that's where he'll play.
Yeah, no, I agree with JC.
Yeah, so let's do it now. Everyone's fit, everyone's available. What changes are you making, Jimmy?
I'm swapping Bogle for Baldock. Who's your right back?
Oh,
don't worry.
Don't worry. Put it this way. He hasn't been announced yet. But before this guy, the last time we bought a right back was 10 years ago.
Yeah, in Crystal Palace's whole time of his existing, we've only spent £8 million on right backs ever.
Wow.
And we're going to spend 10 million on this guy, so we're going to double it.
More than that, which is ridiculous. But and I'm swapping. Unfortunately for Brooks, who's an absolute prodigy, I am swapping him out for Decore. But I think that's the only change I'm going to make.
I don't think I'd make any other changes,
Yeah, because the thing is, the only other injured players we have are players I wouldn't even put in that 11 anyway.
I agree.
It's a good team, that.
It is harsh on Ayew, though, because he's been good for us this year.
Yeah, it is very harsh on Ayew.
Brereton Davies is a baller.
He's been good
also,
for us.
Ayyu's been Ghana's best player at AFCON as well, so it is harsh on him. And like I said before, I don't know how this Norton Davies guy is, so my only change would probably be Mitchell. But I'm cool with this because Archer, in my opinion, is a great striker. Is he a loan or is he a permanent? He's a loan, right?
Permanent. He's a permanent, but there's an obligation for Villa to buy him back if we're relegated. Which is a bit of it's like a weird sort of convoluted deal, but we were burnt by Ryan Bruce.
So they have to buy him back.
They have to buy him back if we're relegated. Oh, wow. Yeah.
How much money you spent on him?
18.
Oh, you get a decent amount of cash back then, at least if you go down.
Yeah, we don't get the full amount back, but we don't do badly. It turns into something like a £2.5 million loan.
So, okay, that's not too bad. Actually,
that's all right business.
That's decent. Yeah.
We've been burnt before with Ryan Brewster. We spent 20 million on up to 20 million on Brewster, and he just didn't do the business, and we got relegated. And then we had £5 million instalments to find every season. So we were keen not to do that again.
Fair enough.
Smart business.
Luke, you can get in the bin, mate.
Right. I've managed to update the predictions league based on obviously you had that split fixture list where there was 5 games one weekend, 5 games the other. So as it stands, amongst the Eagle Eye football team, this is current score. Nicky's closed the gap, like he's had 2 solid weeks in a row. Nate forgot to do his predictions last time round, but we're fortunate that it wasn't much of a high scoring round. Those of you in the chat that get involved as well, I'm still top. Doug's close to 5 points though, so that would be interesting. And yeah, Coltrane, I don't care. You're back in this. You're bottom. You need to stop putting your predictions in. I'm not trying to hear it. If he had put his predictions in, he would have caught OTC, but it's all good. Now,
United at the prediction table.
Literally. Now, I need someone to beat Jace. Jace is such a good guy, but if he wins this, we're not going to get the end of it. But he's got a total of 10 points. He got 2 correct scores with that. And here's the bottom. Dan Turf Morehouse, Burnley fan, with 3 points. Oh, bear in mind, person who finished bottom has a forfeit.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
We don't. No, we don't do that. We wait until you send your predictions in.
You've already committed, mate.
That's all right. All right. I'm all in.
All right. The bare minimum, please, Jimmy. Beat Wolfie.
Oh, God, yeah. Got to beat Wolfie. That is the absolute minimum. You're right.
Yeah. And you know what? When we do the Forest preview, I'll probably get Ant on and get him to do it as well. And hopefully beat him as well.
At least I won't finish bottom then. That's good because Ant don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Evening, Ant.
Just don't. Just get more than 3 in this. You're all right. You're all right. Quickly, Dan. How do you see tomorrow night's game going?
How do I see it going? I think it's going to be a pretty bad game of football, if I'm to be honest with you. It's a 6-pointer. 3 points is absolutely invaluable for both teams. How do I see it going? I think Roy's going to put up some horrific football, if I'm to be honest. I think he's going to try and stifle Sheffield United while also stifling ourselves. And I think it's going to be won by...
Sorry, Jimmy, have you ever heard someone say we need to stifle Sheffield United?
Well, that's what I'm just thinking what Roy's thinking. That's all. I'm not saying what I'm thinking. I'm saying what Roy's thinking.
It's like last season all over again. Love it.
You know what Roy's thinking?
Well, I mean, maybe.
I mean, to be fair, we are so predictable. You probably could.
Yeah, I could probably tell you the starting 11 right now. I could probably tell you that Elise is going to come off of a hamstring injury at probably about the 65th minute. And I think the game's going to be won by a pretty terrible goal, probably from a set piece. I don't really know, to be honest, but I don't think it's going to be an exciting game of football. But at the end of the day, one of us, I think even like a draw for both teams is actually quite a bad result for both teams. I think really it needs to be 3 points for each team or nothing.
Cool. What's your score prediction then?
So in Tactical yesterday, I went 2-0 to us. Obviously, goal back us. But I mean, I can see the result being anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm very optimistic.
My score prediction in Tactical yesterday, I was saying to Dan, it's one of them ones where 0-0 wouldn't surprise me, a 1-0 loss wouldn't surprise me, and a 2-0 win wouldn't surprise me. It's one of those games where you can't call it. In Tactical, I did stick with the 0-0 because the Palace way is the worst way possible, and we all know that. But hearing Elise is back, hearing Jez is back, hearing Ayu's back, I know Schlupp's still going to be playing. He's not going to be on his own. And Eze's not going to be on the wing again, which is just music to my ears. So I'm going to go with 2-0. And I'll say that because of what me and Dan discussed in Tactical is that they really struggle defending with their fullbacks. They tuck in too much. Far post crosses are just the one. It's just like pro clubs. Cross it to the far post and it's easy goals. And I wouldn't say it's a thing of Chris Wilder's tactics aren't good or whatever. I just feel like they just don't have the personnel to really make the most use of it. Because when they came up the first time, the flying centre back, that was working a dream in the first season, but then they got found out. And I feel like Chris Wilder came in, it was working again, but then people sort of reverted back to saying, oh, we beat that with a ball over the top, going out wide. And how they zonally mark is a bit strange as well. But there's definitely ways to win this game. It's just, can Roy set up the team to do what needs to be done? That's the question. And I don't have much faith.
For me, so this is where it gets difficult because, look, I'm sure every one of us Palace fans are going to take the 3 points no matter how it comes. All right? If it's a proper, 95th minute, 1-0 scrappy corner goal, we'll take the 3 points. But I also feel like there's an expectation to have a performance. You know, if proper drab, like say 1-0 win, and we were terrible and under the cosh, I think fans are going to go nuts. You know, but I have gone 2-1 to Palace. I think at least say and IU being back really helps. I really hope we stop the Chris Richards midfield experiment, but it's probably not going to happen. I mean, I'll go Lerma Hughes. I'll actually do that instead. You know, that just stop playing Richards in midfield. We can't progress the ball forward. You know, but yeah, we'll see. We'll concede from a set piece. Probably a hammer free kick, direct free kick, or a corner. And Jimmy, final words with you.
Okay. I'm going to push back slightly on something JC said, and it's a common thing that Sheffield United get thrown at us, which is just I feel the need to put it right. So it's a lot of people's belief that we got found out in second season because obviously results nosedived and we were awful, and there's no doubt about it in that COVID season. What actually happened was Jack O'Connell, our left centre back who overlapped, was injured, and he actually an injury that took him out. He's finished his career because we couldn't find a replacement for Jack O'Connell. We kept going down the right and overlapping because we couldn't overlap down the left. Jack Robinson does not overlap. We became very predictable. We couldn't mix the play like we used to do. Norwood used to switch it. When we were under pressure at one side, we'd switch the play and overlap on the other side and play triangles. That was the reason we were caught. And then we had to change our own game plan. It wasn't the fact that the original game plan got found out, it was that the personnel changed. All that being said, this season when we came up, Paul Eckingbottom hired a defensive coach. We've always been known to be difficult to beat as a side, like we talked about. The defensive coach came in, Mark Hodgson, made us mark zonally, and we were absolutely atrocious at defending. Absolutely atrocious. And there's still now a hangover from that, and it's a confidence thing. So Jayden Bogle, as much as he's improved under Chris Wilder to how he was playing under Eki, he got caught out for goals at the weekend, and he's leaving a man at the far post against West Ham and things of that nature. So there's still defensive errors in our game, and it's something we're yet to rectify. Like Kev was saying earlier, we're creating a lot more chances now, which is brilliant, and it always gives us a puncher's chance in a game. But if we don't lock that back door against players like Eze and Elise, we are going to get punished. So it's all right for us thinking Palace is a winnable game. We thought same about West Ham. They've got Bowen. They've got other game changers like you've got game changers. If we have a lapse in concentration for 1 minute, we'll be punished because that's the level we're at. So, having said all that, I'm going 1-0 Blades.
It's definitely not going to be an easy game for either team. Whoever wins or whoever loses, it's going to be a hard game. It's going to be scrappy, you can tell. And I feel like with what you said right at the start about how you as fans just value people playing for the shirt, even if you're not the best player in the world, that you run your heart out. I feel like that's sort of the identity that we sort of have as well, or we like to think of as fans. Because when we came up, we were sort of playing like you guys for many years before we really dug our heels into this league and started pushing on a little bit. So, you know, in a weird way, you sort of see similarities between Palace and Sheffield in that way. But, you know, we'll see what happens this game. I'll be excited to see what happens.
We'll have to wait and see. Guys, we'll wrap it up there. You see 4 very nervous fans before you. Apologies, my wife has been a madness today, by the way, so apologies if obviously I look a mess. Don't say it's the hair. The hair's a mess anyway. That's no excuse. I saw JC there. JC, I saw you itching, you know, to say something. Don't do that. My hair's a mess. I'm just talking about the Wi-Fi quality and stuff. But,
if I speak,
Jimmy, you're already in trouble. Jimmy, let's give you the platform. Let everyone know where they can find you. We've put the link to you in the title and the description.
Man. Yeah, it is the Blades Ramble, Sheffield United fan channel. Find us on YouTube. We're on social media under that handle as well. So appreciate the support. And We come in peace. No problems with Palace at all, other than David Hopkins back in '97, which is still etched in my brain. So other than that, we're all good. We're all good. And United against Forest. So come on. Here's for a good game on Tuesday. We'll take the 3 points, shake hands, and move on.
If you take the 3 points, you're not seeing me on Monday night. No, I'm only joking. I don't hide. And please message me what your camera is. That looked sharp. It was just me. Or was it like mad sharp?
Very good camera.
Yeah, it's good camera.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks, boys. It is a Sony. I'll tell you now. It's a Sony ZV-E10. So there you go.
Wait, say it again. I'll make a note of this.
Oh, he's got a proper camera, not no webcam.
Oh, it's a camera, yeah.
Okay. Camera. Sony Z what?
I lost a few subscribers when they saw what my face really looked like rather than blurry. But, Sony ZV-E10.
ZV-E10.
Nice.
Cool.
Thanks, boys. Thanks.
Before we round out, if you guys have a free 20 minutes at 9 o'clock, Transfer Weekly will be coming out. It's the last episode. So if you guys can watch along in the premiere, then please go over there, drop a like, have a watch.
Yeah,
there may be a few players there that we're not.
Tomorrow.
Megatron, what did you say?
I hate my Wi-Fi right now. I said fan comes out tomorrow. We might have to rethink when we have the No, we got Chelsea after, haven't we? No, we got Brighton.
Yeah, Chelsea's on a Monday.
Weekend,
yeah, Brighton weekend and then Chelsea's on
Monday
the 12th.
Monday week, yeah. Because with the deadline day stream on the Thursday, we might have to maybe push the Brighton preview to Friday. I mean, it's a deadline day stream where we sit there and talk about nothing because we don't sign anyone.
I'm doing the same, mate. I'm doing exactly the same. But I'll be doing it on my own. So at least you've got people to talk to.
You need to get some people to just jump on for bants. It makes it easier.
I'll get Ant on.
Right.
They'll have already signed everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do that. Right. I'm glitchy. JC on the stream, please, because I'm looking a mess. All right. Big up, everyone. Up the Palace.
Up the Palace.
Egos.
Up the Palace.
Egos.
We'll have to